Good morning, business owners. Leon Street here, back again Sunday morning, and we got a really good topic to talk about. And I say really good because this one cuts deep. This one cuts deep because it's something that I've gone through many times, something that I still experience now, and something that I see a lot in a lot of business owners that I work with, and them, I guess, kind of understanding more about themselves and how they come out the other side of what I want to talk about today. And as I said, this one really does cut deep. How to overcome frustration and avoid being taken off track. As a business owner, I don't know about you, but frustration, it happens like to every business owner that I've come across. Nobody gets away from it because there's so many different things that you can be frustrated about. I'm not saying that you should be, but more than likely you will experience. And there's a lot of different things for everybody that experience it. And I'm going to touch on some things that I guess just the understanding of what frustration is, because perhaps let's say you're a business owner and you don't even know that you're frustrated and you're just experiencing some kind of angst and you don't know what it is. Most of us do know that it is because we'll usually say something along the lines of, oh, I'm feeling frustrated, or my progress is frustrating, or where I am is frustrating, and I'm not where I want to be, and this is frustrating, and people don't get me, and that's frustrating. There's so many different types of frustration that actually happen. And I remember the first time, and I've referred to this many times, the first time I had my first business coach, and he explained to me what frustration is. And it's usually something related to events that have happened in the past, and you're kind of putting your past in connection to what's going on now. So you relate your past to now, and the frustrations build and build and build and whatever else. But I'm going to go into some things that you can use. The reason being that is, if you overcome frustration, you open up your business for success. It's that simple. And if you can manage frustration and get over it quicker, then you can move forward in your business much faster. And that's the bottom line that I want to get to with this. And so I'm going to share a couple of stories. I'm going to share some insights as well. I like to give you guys a bit of background theory, because I don't like to just speak from a place of, let me just talk about this topic and I haven't considered it. I always put some extra time in just to make sure it is considered, so that the place that I come from is genuine to me in terms of my experiences, but also the knowledge and the theory behind these things that you also understand and have, I guess, a good source of information. So before we get into the main content, guys, just remember, go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not subscribed already. Go over to www.leonstreet.com/YouTube and you'll be redirected to the YouTube channel over on YouTube. If you just want to go onto YouTube, just search for Leon Street. You'll see the channel there. Just click on subscribe to the channel. Do yourself a favor and plug yourself into my channel. There's lots of great content on marketing, sales, mindset, and all the other things you need to be a success as a business owner. And especially if you're a coach, consultant, expert, trainer, speaker, and you deliver services, like, the content is pretty much geared up for you guys. So let's kick off with a quote. I love my quotes, guys. This is a really cool quote, and I think this sums it up, as I'm reading it. Success is not built on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. Sometimes it's built on catastrophe, and that's from Sumner Redstone. Now, let me get into this one just for all of you who are thinking, what a load of bullshit, Leon. Success built on failure, and I don't have failure. I don't experience failure. And good morning, Dwayne. Here's the point I want to get to. Look, life has a lot of failures. Life has a lot of frustrations. And the point I'm getting to is that failure doesn't mean it's the end thing, it's the final thing. Yeah, that's if you think in, I guess, extremes of, black and white, ones and zeros type of thing. Life has so many different experiences, and yet we put a lot of weight on our shoulders because sometimes we have an expectation of the result we want to achieve, or an expectation of the outcome. And this is where, when those outcomes don't match where we want to be, frustrations build up or disappointments build up. And so I'm going to move from this quote and just dig into this. First of all, what is frustration? So what is it in its essence? So the feeling of being upset or annoyed as a result of being unable to change or achieve something. Yeah. So examples are: tears of frustration roll down her cheeks, or the inherent frustrations of the assembly line work were killing him. This is from the Oxford Dictionary, and I'm just going to dig in a bit more, and then I'm going to give you some of my own personal experiences of frustration. The prevention of the progress, success, or the fulfillment of something. That's what frustration is. So the frustration of their wishes were doomed, yeah, or whatever. And here's the origin. This is what I like. The origin is from mid 16th century, from Latin frustratio, yeah, from frustrare, which means to disappoint, because that's what frustration is all about, right? Disappointment. And this is the key thing for me. Like, we get frustrated because we're disappointed in the progress, we're disappointed in what we're seeing as outcomes, or disappointed in the result. And for some reason, those disappointments become attached to us. Now I'm going to share some of my examples. I was frustrated, like deeply frustrated, when my first business failed, like massively frustrated. And not only frustration, here's where, as a human being, the concoction of emotions really can get the better of us. I was emotionally depressed. I was shamed. I felt embarrassed. Yeah. And when you start to wrap up all these things, it's no wonder that frustration in business becomes a real challenge for entrepreneurs. And here's where it really gets messy. Yeah. And I hope you're ready for this, because this one most of us don't see. When we're in a place of frustration and the results that we were hoping to achieve haven't gone our way, and times are tough, what can happen is, and this is a real big in, and there's no way to kind of, for me to explain this or show you guys who are watching or listening back to this, the exact route out of this, but I'm going to share with you. So what can happen is, when you hit failure, yeah, you can either go into depression, anxiety, you can go into some really dark places, right? And the challenge with this is, when you go into these places, you don't see that you're in these dark places. So what will happen is, and I'll share from my own experience. When I was in experiencing failure with my first business, when it failed, this is going back to like 2010. What I didn't see is that I was in depression. So what happens is, you can experience denial of your current circumstances, because your mind psychologically moves into protection zone. But unfortunately, the way that the mind is wired psychologically, your protection zone, yeah, can actually move you into a place of glass ceilings and limitations. And also, when you experience frustration, here's something that I've experienced, what I see in business owners, and this happens a lot, is anger. And we're going to get onto that in a moment. So when you become frustrated, you become angry, and this can be outwardly angry or passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is a favorite of mine, and that's something that I've worked on in my time, that I've personally developed, because I never wanted to be outwardly aggressive. And it's because I experienced aggressiveness and different things when I was young, seeing violence and stuff when I was young. And I've never ever wanted to really be outwardly aggressive. So have a guess what I translated that into? Passive aggressiveness. So, you may experience this. The other one is aloofness. And I see this a lot in business owners. When things or a particular task is not going the way that, let's say, they want, or you want it to go, aloofness means that you disappear, i.e. you stop doing the thing, or you stop communicating with people either involved in the activity or your business or your family or whatever, because the frustrations now kind of make you go inward. And this is a big one. I see a lot of business owners do this elusiveness, meaning, oh, I stopped doing that thing because it just wasn't working out. But in reality, it was they were experiencing frustration and they didn't know how to deal with it. So they became either aloof to the environment or the action, the activity, or whatever it is. And you may see this, and aloofness means that you stop showing up, or you stop doing the very thing that actually, yeah, it was a bit difficult, but eventually that the outcome would be there. But in your frustration in the moment, i.e. coming back to disappointment, you decide, that's not for me, leave that alone, and I'll never go back there, I'll never try that again. And actually, these are the blind spots that we don't see when we're going through emotional challenges of frustration. And so hopefully, is this making sense, guys? Hopefully you guys are kind of following along, because look, I've experienced these, and like, you never 100% get rid of frustration, but you get better at dealing with it. And this is the key thing that I want to get onto. Now, I've got a couple of other things that I want to share with you, and I'm going to come back to just sharing stories, because I don't want to go too deep in the theory, but I want you to understand this. So in psychology, frustration is a common emotional response to opposition related to anger, annoyance, and disappointment. Just like I've shared with you from those short stories, frustration arises from the perceived resistance to the fulfillment of an individual's will or goal, and is likely to increase when a will or goal is denied or blocked. yeah, when it is denied or blocked. So what are we getting onto there? Frustration happens when you are probably going for the very thing that you want to happen or achieve in your life and business. It's when you're really pushing and you're going to that next level. And the challenge is, most of us just haven't got the grit to see it through. Most of us want to shy away and go back to safe behavior, go back to safe and common surroundings, safe and common environments, whether internally in the mind or externally around us. And this is a normal, natural response. And, you know, especially when you're doing something new. So have you ever done something new in your business, launching a new offer, a new product, a new business model, changing things? You know, in the past year, a lot of us have had to change, have had to pivot. But in doing so, the very nature of change can create frustration, and that can set you up for this massive disappointment. And not a lot of us are prepared to stick it out and see our way through. Yeah. And sometimes it's not because the person doesn't want to, it's because it's a blind spot. And, you know, I've shared this on past weeks on a Sunday as well with you guys, that, you know, the fastest way to get over your blind spots and the things you don't see about yourself, your behaviors and your activities that lead you to failure, is to get a coach, get a mentor, get somebody who can look at you and help you objectively, somebody who can, you know, point out, like, actually, here's where you're going wrong, but not do it from the perspective of criticizing you in a negative way, but actually picking up on the things that you then need to act on, because nobody can get you to act, but, you know, get you to a place where at least you become aware. And that's one of the key things, especially for coaches and mentors. But for you personally, if you want to overcome these things faster and move forward faster, I 100% recommend you get a coach or a mentor. Just get somebody who can help you and somebody who's in your corner. So the point I want to get back to now, in terms of the explanation, I just mentioned there are two types of frustration. There's internal. This may arise from challenges in fulfilling personal goals, desires, instinctual drives and needs, so things that you do from instinct, or dealing with perceived deficiencies such as lack of confidence or fear of social situations. Conflicts such as when one has competing goals that interfere with one another, because that's another thing. Yeah. Can also be an internal source of frustration or annoyance. So what does that mean there, where you've got competing goals? Or what if you have a goal in your business, but actually there's goals with your family, and because of your desire to complete something in your business and your desire to show up for your family, and they start to conflict because of time, right? Or they conflict because of priorities, or they conflict because of, you know, let's say somebody else's own goal within your family, and could be your partner, husband, wife, or whatever. And then that starts to create conflict there and frustration. It's like, I feel trapped. And that was a big thing. I remember when I was young, probably a couple of years after my father passed away, when I was a teenager, like 13. Yeah. And I remember experiencing massive frustration in my surroundings, family, what I was experiencing, the kind of life I was living. Not that my life was like terrible, just what I was experiencing, right, guys? And the point that I want to get to is that a lot of the time, internal frustrations, they are the undoing of us. And, you know, it is us who create them in the first place, because the frustrations are all to do with us going after what it is that we want to achieve. And especially in business, it just becomes it can feel like a ball and chain around your ankle. That's what frustration is like. It's like frustration in progress, frustration in people, frustration in, I don't know, just even menial tasks, right? And this why, for me, I'm raising this because the more you raise your awareness on what's going on and what's frustrating in you, and allowing you just to become aware, like, oh, this is a thing, yeah, the faster you can start to implement change. So I've just mentioned to you about internal frustrations. So what about external frustrations? So external causes of frustration involve conditions outside of the individual's control, your environment, such as physical roadblock, so things that are preventing you physically outside of you, a difficult task or perception of wasting time. That's a big one, wasting time. And I'm going to come back to this one with a story. There are multiple ways individuals cope with frustration, such as passive aggressive behavior. As I said, that was a number one go-to for me, and still is. I still know I do it, and it's a misbehavior, but I don't do it as bad as I used to. Anger, violence, although frustration may propel positive processes via enhanced effort and strive. So And I come back to perception of wasting time, because this is the big one. You're in business, you're doing something, you know that this thing is meant to be helping you, but it's not going the way that you want it to. And you feel like this is a freaking waste of time. Yeah. Have you experienced that one, guys? Now, if you have, this is where frustration can really hit boiling point, waste the time, because what might happen is you've got to do a certain action, or you've got some responsibilities, and you just find this is a waste of my time. I can't get this thing done. And what happens is you then quit on that thing. You quit on that task because it felt like a waste of time. Yeah. And here's a real big thing. If you can get beyond that, and let's say you found, or you've got advice, let's say you've spoken to an expert, a coach, or somebody who says, yep, this is the thing you're meant to be doing, and here's the way you're doing, but you just hit frustration. First of all, just think, is it because you haven't got a handle on something? I've had experiences in the past where I'm doing something and I'm like, I feel like I'm banging my head up against the wall. I'm like, what the heck? I've put in so much time, so many hours, all the resources and resourcefulness of me. And I'm like, and I still can't get past this thing. Like, what's going on? This is a waste of time. And, over that time, what I've started to experience is like, what am I experiencing? Like, how am I feeling? And it might seem a bit kind of like, how are you feeling? This is where you capture how you handle frustration with the internal and the external, because the more you can capture how you feel and you're experiencing it, the more you can say, do I have to respond in this way? Do I have to feel this way? Are there other options? And this is where you start to become resourceful with your opportunities to get beyond frustration. And I'm going to dig into some more of these in a moment and just share with you some examples. So continuing the external, what is frustration externally? This broad range of potential outcomes makes it difficult to identify the original causes of frustrations, when you're going through all these different things, as the responses may be indirect. However, a more direct and common response is a propensity towards aggression. Yeah. And so if you find that you're in your business, and I'll come back to this in a moment, even in life, and you run a business, and at home you just find you just quit, frustration, or you snap at people. Like, this is usually an example of frustrations, and you may be experiencing it. You might not. It might be something else other than frustration. It could just be other challenges. You might just have some things going on with anger. But usually, when you're going through I guess the experience of aggressiveness, and like I said, it can be passive aggressive. It doesn't mean that you're outwardly aggressive. And you might say, I'm not an aggressive person, Leon. What the hell are you talking about? Or, blah, blah, blah. Just know that you might have little bits of it here and there, but that's what it might be. It might be frustration. That's what you might be going through. And the important thing is to capture it, guys. As business owners, you are under enough stress as it is. You have taken the courageous step to go and create your own path to provide for you and your family. And when you are frustrated, it's difficult. When you're hitting roadblocks, whether mentally or externally to you, like for instance, the biggest external one for a lot of people right now is lockdown, coronavirus, pandemic, all that other whatever's going on. That's an external roadblock, guys. Businesses have had to close. Businesses have closed down. And then the psychological impact of lockdown, as an example, is frustrating. People have got goals for 2021. People had goals for 2020. And it's like, well, how the hell do you move forward with, your life and your business when all of that's going on? This is what I want to help you to get over, guys. You've got to look at what's going on with you and how you respond to frustration. Because when you're in frustration, you're not thinking resourcefully, you're not in a place of creativity, and you're not in a place of tapping into your genius. And that's what I want you to understand about frustration, guys. And if you can take frustration, like this ball of energy, and you can turn it into motivation, and you get to the point where, look, I'm so frustrated and I'm so pissed off, and I really want to take things to the next level, and you do. That's what I started to build up. So when I was experiencing these challenges, and when I went through the failure of my business, and I went through being depressed, coming out the other side of my business failing, what I started to tap into was like, this isn't good enough. Leon, this isn't good enough. I'm not accepting this. And I started to take frustration, and I started to take the bullshit drama story I was telling myself and turn it into motivation, turn it into, Leon, have you got enough grit to keep going? And what happened was I started to build up this internal drive to, when things are going like wrong and they're not going to plan, I'm not going to quit, because I know in my heart what my vision is. And my vision says that I need to be over here. And if frustration is the barrier, then I'll go over it, I'll go under it, I'll go around it. I may not stop experiencing it, but I'm going to become resourceful in my approach to getting over it. And that's what I want to share with you guys, because what it looks like as a business owner is all of those challenges that I've just experienced, just explained to you. Like you may be frustrated with your accounts, with bookkeeping, with marketing. Marketing is a big one. As a visionary marketing coach, I know marketing is frustration. Like, don't think Leon sits on his hill, top of his hill, doing marketing and it's just like a breeze. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things I find easy, but there are times when marketing becomes frustrating. It becomes frustrating when you create a new campaign and the campaign doesn't work the way that you want it to, or you don't get the results that you want. There's frustrations you will experience in sales. Let's say you're speaking to a lot of people, but people aren't buying from you. Yeah, you might be getting frustrated, but it might simply be your offer's just weak. Yeah, could be that. Yeah, and you're getting frustrated thinking, why are these people buying? This offer's amazing, but perhaps your offer isn't amazing. There's other things you're going to get frustrated with technology, like people who do marketing funnels, marketing systems, CRMs, all these different things. You're just going to experience lots of different challenges. And for instance, taxes can be frustrating, especially if you're not good at accounting and taxes, and you've got to speak to an accountant, and it's one of the most, what I'll tell you straight up, like taxes and accounting for me is one of the most draining things ever. It's just not something I enjoy, but I've got a handle on it because I pay my accountant to do it for me. And she puts the systems in place, and that's another way. You can outsource some of these things, but don't outsource too early before you get a good understanding of what needs to happen. And if you don't have a good understanding, speak to somebody first, as I said, coach or mentor, to understand what things have got to be in place, and then go act on it. So those are things that can happen, guys. And look, what I'll say to you is, as a business owner, you're not meant to have this smooth road. You're not meant to have no speed bumps and no holes, let's say, or even sinkholes in your road. The key is understanding how are you responding in the moment and becoming aware that you're even frustrated. Because sometimes people can just say, oh, I'm so angry, I'm so frustrated, and I feel good that I'm in this place, because you start to get used to being like angry, whether it's passive aggressive or outwardly aggressive. And what you want to look at is like, why am I even feeling this way? Like, what's going on right now? Am I in the place where I need to be? Am I experiencing the emotions that I want to experience? I'll tell you a quick story. So yesterday, and this is a story with my daughter and my son. So this is my eldest daughter and my oldest. So my daughter's got my tablet, and so you guys see me sometimes, I'm sketching on the screen. So she's got my tablet, and she's got my tablet pen, this Apple pen, that you can sketch on the tablet and create drawings. So she's doing whatever she's doing, I don't know, creating fairies and unicorns and whatever. She's only 7, by the way. And then my son, after 5 minutes, I think she puts it down, has to go to, she goes to the toilet or something. My son picks it up, but he picks it up to annoy her, to like, start drawing. And this is the other thing about human psychology and behavior. It's so weird. But I'm sure if you've got a teenager, you probably experience this, guys. So anyway, he picks up the iPad. I come back in the room, and then she's moaning. She's frustrated. Yeah, she's frustrated because he's bigger than her, and he's took the iPad, and she's upset. And I say, "What's up, Renee?" And she's like, "Ruben's taken the iPad, and I hadn't finished my drawing." And obviously she hadn't. She'd only been messing on it for 5 minutes. So now I say to my son, Ruben, give her the tablet back. And I say, stop trying to wind your sister up. And as I'm saying that, he starts smiling, because that was his goal. You know what teenagers are like, right? And so I said, Ruben, you're bigger than that. You understand what you're doing here. And I'd appreciate if you could just like be kind to your sister and find ways to encourage her and do better. And that's like talking to a brick wall as a teenager, but I say it nonetheless because he'll pick it up subconsciously and eventually it will filter through. But anyway, it's not an extreme thing. So anyway, in that time, he gives back the tablet, and I say to Renee, my daughter, I said, Renee, Like how you respond to Ruben, you're in control of. You don't have to get angry and you don't have to get upset, even a tear in her eye. I say, because the reality is that you can choose to go and do something else, and you can choose to say, you know what, I haven't got the tablet right now, so I'll go and do something else. And yes, it may be frustrating, but what I'm getting to is, even at this young age of 7, I want my daughter to understand that she's in control of her emotions. She's in control of how she responds, just as you are as a business owner. And so if you're experiencing frustrations, yeah, the first step is become aware to what's going on, become aware to how your body feels, become aware to the emotions that you're feeling in the moment, because this is what will help you to accelerate and find the grit to keep going, to find the grit to say, you know, I'm not giving up on this thing. It might be frustrating. It might seem like it's a waste of my time, but I can see where it will get me once I've got past this challenge, this block. And that's the key thing for me, guys. Like, I want you to understand this. Look, here's an explanation from Dr. Vincent Berger, and I like this. You will need to learn to distinguish between what you hope will happen, what will probably happen, and what will actually happen, or happened, as he put it. I've literally copied it verbatim from his website, but what will actually happen. Life inevitably has its ups and downs, its moments of relaxation and times of tension. And when I'm saying grit, I'm talking about your ability to hold tension when things are difficult and it feels like the world is on top of your shoulders, but you can say, you know what, I've got this. I'm still going after that goal. When you learn to truly accept this reality, you come one step closer to being able to deal with frustration in a healthy way. And I really like this explanation. It seems a bit kind of, theoretical, but like, seriously, guys, if you can hold tension rather than relieve it in anger, or relieve it in, let me quit on myself, let me quit on this task, let me quit on my business, let me quit on the people around me, let me quit on my family, let me quit on myself. Like, this is where you become powerful. This is where you win as a business owner. This is where you see your way through and you're like, I can hold this. I can do it. Because the reality is that 99% of the time, guys, you can. And that for me is really where you start to understand what frustration is and getting over it. If you're experiencing frustration in the sense of people don't get me, people don't understand me, try speaking to them in a different way. Try reducing your anger in the moment, so that when you speak to them, they experience you in a different way, and the outcome, I'm telling you, will change. Because maybe in your frustration, you speak to somebody in this passive aggressive or even outwardly aggressive manner, and people don't want to get you. It's not that they don't get you, they don't want to get you. And this, when you're in business, honestly, this can roll out with your clients. It can can happen with suppliers, and all of these things will set you up for failure if you can't get a handle on your frustrations and how you're responding. And that's what I want to share with you most this morning, guys. Like, frustration doesn't have to be frustrating. It is a bit, though. Like, I'm not going to lie and say, oh yeah, let's go black and white, and like, you can stop frustration. All I want you to do, guys, is learn how to manage it better. Learn how to understand how you're responding in the moment, like I shared with you with the story from my daughter. So I'm going to leave you with this from Mr. Abraham Maslow, my final quote today before I wrap up. Rioting is a childish way of trying to be a man. But it takes time to rise out of the hell of hatred and frustration and accept that to be a man, you don't have to riot. And I'm going to share my insight on this so you take this the right way. This is from Abraham Maslow. Yeah, so the riot that he's talking about, rioting is a childish way, is your outward expression of anger. It doesn't mean that you're in a riot or you're rioting wherever, to kind of stand up for your cause. Stand up for your cause and stand up and do the things that you need to do. But the rioting is the anger part. That's what I want you to get a hold on. So anger is the childish way of trying to be an adult. I won't even say a man, because this is for both men and women. I hope everybody, you women watching this as well, take this the right way. I've again just copied the quote verbatim exactly as it is. But it takes time to rise out of hell. It takes time to get over your past frustrations and your past programs and emotional programs of how you used to act and behave with things, and accept that to be an adult or a human being, you don't have to express it as anger. I'm not saying anger isn't a good thing. Sometimes you might use it inwardly as motivation to get the results that you want externally, yeah, but use it in a right way, not in a destructive way. That's what I want to get across to you guys. So hopefully frustrations, you will have a handle on them now, and you will raise your awareness of what frustrations are, because it's usually, how am I responding? That's the key you've got to capture. The more you capture that, the more you accelerate with the things you want to achieve in your life, guys. And that's what I want you to take away from this. So finally, guys, if you want more help growing your business in 2021, just remember, comment below this video with more. My approach to growing your business with marketing encapsulates more of what it means to be a human being and a success as a business owner. Like, I refer to myself as a visionary marketing coach, but the reason why I get results is because I understand people. And understanding people and connecting that to understanding marketing is how I find success. Speak to any of my clients and they'll tell you that I take them through new challenges. I take them through new ways of looking at business that are scary. But you know what? The results are on the other side of scary. Just as the quotes, and you see them all over, that, you know, the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. It truly does, because there's way more comfort zone for you to grow into than you realize is possible. So if you do want to grow your business, you know, whether you have income targets or whether you have impact targets, you know, how many more people you want to influence and help in this world, I can help you and help you stop with the frustrations of your marketing. So on that note, guys, I just want to say it's been a pleasure delivering today's topic. You know what? I really enjoy them because I learn a lot more about myself as well as I'm experiencing. They always say, you know, that the best way to grow in life is to actually demonstrate, to teach. And that's why I enjoy these Wednesday and Sunday live streams. So hopefully you do too, guys. Remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go over to leonstreet.com/YouTube. Subscribe. Do yourself and do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Yeah. Go to YouTube, find Leon Street and hit subscribe. Click on the notification bell and you'll be notified of all my upcoming videos. On that note, guys, it's time to go enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing week. Take care. Bye-bye.